Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Overshot, a paintball podcast. Our guest on this episode is Big E. That's how everyone knows him as. He's been playing a long time. He's got a big history in the game. So, right out of the gate, Big E, how was the first time did you find paintball? Was it like your typical birthday party? Did you like my first time was kind of back in the woods shooting like a couple trees.
hmm
What was your first time like?
First time I played was 1988, and
I was born in '87. If that's
um, I was like every good little brother. You know what I mean? I was following my brother to go do some stuff with some friends. They had a friend who had a cabin up in the Poconos, so they had a small group. I tagged along. They had somebody drop out last minute, and I went with my brother, unbeknownst to my parents. And that was kind of the whole purpose of the weekend, was to get into it. And I just remember being scared out of my mind. Like we're playing with basically 10-round tubes and run around in the woods shooting at each other, playing like 3-on-3 or 4-on-4 or whatever it was. And we were playing long games. We were playing like half hour, 45 minutes, and it was just like I'm just hunkering down, like hiding the best I could. Um,
right.
so my brother's the one who really got me into it, and I guess he had played once before that, and I don't know, it was good. It's just I was hooked immediately. So
Awesome. Now, did you play at like a set up field, or was this just like you guys found like a bunch of wooded area and you went and played?
no, so like a friend of my brother's, like it was like a friend of a friend.
Hmm.
They had a cabin, and they
Hmm.
had a decent amount of acreage. It wasn't huge, probably like 10 acres up there. And so we
Right.
would go crash at the cabin, whatever, and then we would play a variety of different games. Like they would have whatever the scenario was, like, oh, it's capture the president or whatever, and we would play these long belabored games over the weekend. I don't think I shot much paint that very first time, and just absolutely fell in love with it. And
Yeah,
then
not much in a 10 round tube, huh?
no, no. So you were lucky you carried those extra little cigar holders with you or whatever,
Right.
and it was crazy. I remember the one guy had an SMG 62, which is a Titman gun. It's full auto, and he had like little stripper clips, and we're all running around with like PGPs and shit. So um, terrifying.
That's
But
that's so
it's
funny.
15 years old and absolutely loved it.
Yeah, it's awesome. So so right after that, were you like, I gotta find fields, like, and you just started taking it kind of serious, or was it kind of like a thing you did every
Yeah.
now and then?
No, so like I'm gonna say shortly after that, I only played a couple times in '88, and again we were getting together with my brother's friends, and then a few more guys were getting paintball guns. And I grew up in Montgomery County, PA, which is out by like Valley Forge, King of Prussia area. And the development that was close to our house, friends again, we would just go behind the development. There was like a little field, and we would play like 2-on-2s and stuff like that, or 3-on-3s. I remember like one of my friends, he didn't even have a paintball gun, so he went to like Kmart and got like a wrist rocket, and that's how we were playing. And I did that probably until I'm going to say like April of '89. And that's when we found Cobra Command. And it was funny as hell because the guy who actually got my brother into it, he's like, man, I keep hearing this thing. There's a new paintball field open near me. I swear to Christ, the paintball field was like 400 yards from his house, and he couldn't find it for the longest time. But it was out near Skipback, PA. It was the original Cobra Command. Opened up in April. I started working there, I think, every weekend. I would work Saturdays and, basically trade my work refing
Mhm.
um, and for paint on Sunday. Or,
Right.
or we would go
That's a
up during
common
the,
story. You hear that a
oh
lot
my
from
God,
people.
yeah. So, or I would, go up there during the week. I'd find places that had pallets nearby and be like, oh, can I build pallet forts? And we'd go up there with my friends, and they're 16 years old. They just have a driver's license. Let's go build pallet forts at the paintball field.
Right. Have a good time,
So
man.
he's like, have at it, do whatever you want. So that was it, man. And that was really kind of my slingshot into the sport. And it's just been crazy. I have to say, I'm incredibly blessed. I've been kind of in the right place at the right time.
Hmm.
I'm a very driven person. Very, you know what I mean. Like if I see something, that's what I want to do. I go for it. Um, so I'm going to say at 16 years old, I started playing for the local team. Within a year, I was captain of the team. It was the original Team Cobra. I had guys, twice my age on that team, and starting to play some tournaments by late '89, '90. I was helping run the field. I was basically co-managing the field at that point, working in high school, and it was just awesome. Like I remember one of my fondest memories is going down to South Jersey Paintball before he became national, before he became Balkan, and visiting Gino. You know what I mean? And it
Yeah.
was it was down there. It's actually the building's still there. It's right there across the street from oh my God, the playground. So like if you
Okay.
go across the street is like his dad's house, and there's like a little strip mall there. Well, the part of the strip mall was like a hoagie shop, and his dad owned the hoagie shop. So you would go and like order your sandwich, and then wait for your order to get picked and stuff, and just it's just awesome. It was phenomenal days. And just shoot the shit and just like meeting people constantly. So
Yeah, that's one of the great things about paintball. Like it's like it's kind of like like everyone's family. Like if you play, like you're a part of our community, and for the most part, it's very welcoming, especially like in the scenario side and stuff.
yeah, absolutely. And even in like the early tournament stuff, like one of my dear friends in the sport is Charlie Holton. A lot of guys know him as Happy Holton.
Mhm.
And I actually met him on his honeymoon, and I can't remember the year. It was either 90 or 91, and I have to look up the date. But it was in June. We were up at Jack Frost Mountain playing the Paint Check 5-man. And it was one of those things where it was like our first national tournament. And I was thinking, man, we like kicked the crap out of everybody at our local field. And we'll go up there and we're like, oh, we're going to smoke everybody. And we got
Right.
up there and I had an awakening. That was probably the first time I met Kevin Donaldson.
I love Kevin.
There is an iconic picture of them holding the Montanil Z1 marker in the parking lot. They had kind of a big Master Blasters, picture taken. I was probably 20 yards away when they had that picture taken. And I was like, what the hell is this? And I'm like trying to figure stuff out. You know what I mean? Like, and really kind of seeing paintball from its infancy. That was the very first time I realized that people would cheat playing paintball. We were playing Swarm, which at that point was basically, there was no pro teams, but they were basically one of the quote unquote pro teams.
Right.
It was them, All Americans, all that other stuff. And I shot a guy, and I was completely dumbfounded. I'm like, I shoot him, and I watch, and he's like looking like this, and he can't find a ref. And then I watch him, and I was like, the hell are you doing? You can't do that. So he waves at me and shoots me. And I was like, F this.
What?
And I was like, wipe this shit. And the two of us are just unloading on each other until the ref came and pulled us both. But I was like, what, people cheat doing this? What is this? So it was just, it was crazy. I think we came in next to last at the tournament. I think if I were to go back and find the Paint Check magazine, we did horrible. But
yeah, it's funny that you met Kevin there, because like that's how I got my start. Kevin kind of picked me out to play in the scenario scene when I was trying to get into tournaments. He sent me up to PSI, survival or whatever, and like had Rosie and Mooner and all those guys just beat the envelope and crap out of like the dudes he brought in with me. But that was how I learned how to get better.
But seriously, like that, like the early days, man, it was like the who's who. Like you talk about anybody here on the East Coast, meeting all the guys from the All Americans, you know what I mean, and talking to those guys. The Bump Brothers were great. Again, just very fortunate. So I graduated high school in '90, and I went to school in Gettysburg College. I actually took a year off to work at the paintball field and deferred my, enrollment. And as soon as I got to Gettysburg, like first thing we did, we're like, let's start a paintball club. Sweet, let's get a competitive team, and had that going. And that was cool. I mean, it was school sponsored. They helped pay for the costs, and we were driving up to Sergeant York's, and that was the home for the All Americans, the All Ace 2 at the time. And so really kind of met a lot of those guys like really, really early on in the sport. And those guys have been, a lot of those guys have been lifelong friends. I mean, I still talk to Chris Davis on a lot, you know what I mean? And like he still plays for All Ace 2, Joe Muniz, like he's still around All Ace 2.
Yeah, I see Joe a lot.
Yeah. So Steve Barber, God rest his soul. He was phenomenal. Like he was so down to earth. I remember I was probably 18, 19 years old. Would take me under his wing at the paintball field, show me how to like properly hold and how to do my stance and make sure I get my snap shooting and stuff like that. And then, you know what I mean? Like Tui Barber is a legend in the sport. And I'm just some stupid kid with a camera who was interested in learning more about paintball and taking pictures of people, how they were standing and stuff, trying to learn from myself. And he's like, no, put down the camera. Let's come over here. Let's let's do
That's
this.
awesome.
Take out your shit. Let's learn how to do this.
That was
So,
also when people are willing to teach you and go out of your way. Like for me, that guy was Pete Dutching. So like I was playing a
oh,
scenario team, and Pete played. I don't know. He knew somebody on the team, so he played with them. It was like a small group of guys, but somehow me
right.
and my brother got linked up with him, and I didn't know shit at the time. It's probably only maybe the fourth time playing, and I'm watching him, and I'm like, I don't know who this guy is, but I want to do everything he's doing exactly the
Absolutely.
same way. And
Yeah.
and just from that, like I followed him everywhere. I was like, yo, I'm messing with yo, Pete, you what big game? Oh, you're going to this big game? Or you're going to EMR? I'm there. You're going here? Oh, I'm
Yep.
there too, man. And like I just followed and had him teach me everything, molded my game to this day.
So I'm gonna say like from there, like things just it picked up really quickly. I started working at Sergeant York's on a regular basis. After I graduated from college, I had the opportunity to buy out the owner with another partner. That was a phenomenal experience. Again, opened just doors. Started traveling, playing national tournaments. Sadly, we had a fire in
Oh
1999,
damn.
and it basically just it decimated the pro shop and kind of forced
Yeah.
us to close in about a year. But that was phenomenal. I mean, it's just all the different people that we met during that time frame. I mean, all those people from the early 90s on. I mean, they're legends in the industry. And I was, you know what I
Right.
mean? It's not like I was trying to get in there. I just happened, I was lucky as hell. I got to be in the right place at the right time and meet just amazing people. So
Yeah, man. Don't sell yourself short. I mean, everyone knows the name Big E on this coast, man. You made quite a name for yourself, man,
I
friend.
appreciate it. I've calmed down though. I used to, a lot less fighting.
Good.
I don't think my wife would appreciate it. So
But yeah, right. But no, that's great. That's like great that you had that experience of owning a field because you can give a perspective a lot of the people. I feel like there's a lot of like keyboard warriors in paintball and people that want to say like, oh, this is how you fix it, but it's like they don't really understand.
no, no. So I mean, like I put a post up the other day and I was trying to explain this to my kids. Like I've been playing this sport long enough. So you're talking about I've started my 33rd year in the sport, right? As of
Yeah.
the end of July. So I still see a lot of like the young guys who come on the team. And it's like everybody else. I like the sound of my paintball gun. I like to hear that smack of, it hitting the tree bark or hitting someone's goggles or tank. You know what I mean? Like that's a
Right.
definitive sound. Um, but I basically had to shame some of my guys. I'm like, listen, we go out and you play a big game. Yes, is your skill level better than the other people you're playing against? Absolutely. You know what I mean? But it doesn't mean you see that kid over there with a 98 and you need to rip into him. Shoot him
Right.
one time. Shoot him one time. Go give him a fist bump or something. You know what I mean? Like I had to,
Right.
I had to explain to my guys like that's everybody bitches and moans that the sport of paintball is dying, and I was like, that's BS, dude. 100%.
Right.
I mean, I run big games, I run tournaments. I see the sport growing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so for us, the best thing that we can do is to make sure that we help make that a memorable experience, just like I had. You know what I mean? You've had. Make sure that they have a memorable experience so they come back. Like that's the key.
No, 100%. I agree with you so much. Like, the other thing I like to try and do is because, like, they're a little timid. So I'll be
Mhm.
like, hey, kid, I'm going to go make this move. After I make it, you follow me, okay? And, like, it won't be a big bump. Like, for me, like, yeah, no big deal. But then he comes and he gets different angles. I tell him to shoot him. And hopefully he has a better time because you're 100%. Hopefully this guy is like, yo, I went there. It was awesome. And I followed this guy and he told me to, and I shot this guy. And now I'm coming back to play again.
One of my absolute favorite moments was 2 years ago. I got to be general at the CPX game, the Endless Legends game down at OXCC.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty sure that's Sunday, isn't it?
No, it's a super game this weekend.
Super game is Sunday.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah, yeah. So this is like the first weekend in October. So this is the one that Hanu puts on. And so I was the general for the Templar side. And it just so happened, I'm out playing with like my auto mag, dude. I'm playing with a smart mag from like 1980 or 1994. And I'm out playing and I'm playing with kids who have like Tippmann, I don't know, 98s and Griffins and whatever else they've got, and we get into the fire base at OXCC, which is really close to the other team's spawn. And it's literally me and like one other person from my team and like 7 kids. They're like all like 13, 14 years old. So I'm like literally like they're running out. Like I have like my entire pack full of paint. My knees are shot from the weekend. It's Sunday. I'm like, I'm just at this point, somebody shoot me, I'm going to go back. But like I sat there and I cheered these kids on. I would keep filling their packs up, and like I'm like gave the kid my one gun the one time, and I was like I'm using his 98. Oh my god, dude! Like that was for me, that was such a like a rewarding experience to see those kids. Like, they're like, damn, this is awesome. Like, I got to do this, you know, like my dad's got to go get me something for Christmas. And I'm like, that's what we need, man. We need more of that.
No, we definitely do. Another thing I like to do is like if I'm playing walk-ons and I get shot out, like doing something stupid, and I'm walking off, I'll like slide my gun to like a rental kid, and be like, yo, shoot this,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
because that kid I don't even give anything special. I'll give him a shocker CVO on the grand scheme thing. A very expensive gun, something he could probably honestly like go out and get. He might love it.
Absolutely. And I think that's the key for us. You know what I mean? Like, if we want our sport to grow, we've got to take ownership of it. We talk about one of the challenges, that Brian Barno puts out at every event is like, next time you come, bring someone who has never played before. You know what I mean? Like, even if you split a case of paint with them or whatever you need to do, like, invite them to come play. So,
for sure.
So that's it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just the paintball life. It's like
right.
Today's been crazy. Like, I've been teaching all summer, and last week was the first weekend I had off. So this weekend, like, I got back, my wife's back to work. I've been doing paintball shit all day. Like, working on stuff for EPL. I'm working on stuff for big games. I literally was having some guy in England make a custom prop for me for my one Halloween game, because he's doing some custom cutting. He's making like this, I don't know, it looks like a key card from the movies, and it's laser engraved and lights up. And I was like, dude, I need that. It's $50. Yes, I need that. Make me 2 of those. I was like, yes. And it's got like a USB drive on it. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be awesome.
Yeah, I know we're kind of jumping all over the place, but like the props in some of the big games nowadays are like next level.
Oh my god, dude! The stuff that Herc is doing.
I was about to say the bombs and stuff that Herc is making.
Crazy stuff. I mean, I'll be honest. Like, I know that if I sat down, I could probably learn how to do some of the wiring and the Arduino boards and all that other stuff. But I was like, dude, I don't have the patience. I was like, just make it for me. Just tell me how it works, But I mean, even with his like RF chips and the flagpoles and everything else, I'm like, dude, that is so awesome. You know what I mean? Like, that's the stuff that like really gets me excited. I love
innovating.
Oh my god, yeah. Like, some of the most fun I had this last year was going and playing like the Cousin Dark Ops games. Like, that was so much fun, dude. Love it.
That's what I was gonna say. I don't know if it was Dark Ops, but it was one of them where he had his little setup there. And we're playing or whatever, and he comes over to me and he's like, "Hey, dude, I'm just telling you, there's a little wire over there I have for power. Don't trip over it, okay?" I was like, "What are you powering out in the middle of this fucking field, man?"
Yeah, I think it was. I can't remember, but yeah, it was recently. I'm pretty sure it was one of the Dark Ops games.
Yeah, time kind of molds. I say recently sometimes, but sometimes recently to me is like 2 years ago.
Yeah, well, that's pretty cool.
But so unfortunately, your shop burned down, and this is in the late '90s. So like, I don't know how much further this is ahead, but like, when did you really start like the Misfit Toys and kind of building like that like brand and stuff?
So, Misfits, we started in 1988 or 1998, excuse me. We actually, the original 12 players came from another team called the Onos. And I still talk to some of those guys now, but we had a huge kind of falling out. And I think it was just at that time, we were all young. We were all in our early 20s, our egos, we just collided.
Yeah, everyone's a little hot.
So it was the very first Skyball event, and my co-captain and 4 other guys went to Canada, and much like, the GZ guys, we won the amateur title. We came home from Skyball with the first place trophy. And so Team Onos was shot into the spotlight, and the guys came back, and they were very different, and I think that some of the guys who didn't get to go kind of resented it, or I don't really know what that dynamic was. But I just know that the team dynamic changed after that. And I know that there was an incident that the guys played the next MPPL event. And this is really, you talk about, this is early on in the internet. And one of the guys went on and blasted Rennick Miller and Cesar Pizzo and all this other stuff and about the event. And I started getting phone calls at the shop, just blasting me like, we're going to blackball you guys are not allowed back and all this other shit. And so I had kind of like the two sides of me. I'm like, okay, so this is a team I didn't start the team, but I was captain at the time. And, you know, what do I do? Like, I have these guys. Okay, so they've earned some of the national recognition, but then I've got a whole other group of guys. You know what I mean? And so we decided to split into two teams. And so originally it was Onos and Onos Junior. And I think within 30 days, we just made a clean split. And everybody put their idea for a name in a hat, and we read them through, and everybody voted. And it just so happened that the name that I put in the hat was the one that everybody picked. So that was it. So we were Misfit Toys. And
it's honestly a solid name.
Thank you. I completely 100% stole it from Rankin and the Rudolph Holiday Special. The official team name is the Paintball Warriors from the Island of Misfit Toys. And so I put everything up from, you know, the holiday special every year on the team page. But that was it. You know what I mean? Like we had to make a clean split, and it was just like one of those weird transitions. You know what I mean? That was the very first year in '98. Brian Barno and I had actually met in 1990. He was playing out of a team in Northeast. This is before he was working for American. He had a shop up in Quakertown and up near Allentown. It was Global Paintball Supply, and he was running the Global Paintball League. And it was the very first year for that up at his field up near Allentown. We played the first year and the second year. I think we did very well. I think we finished either like 4th or 5th, I think, overall for the series in the first year, and close to that, I think, for the second year. And that was cool. You know what I mean? Like we did that. And then by the time 2000 came around, I actually started reffing for Brian. Like the squad would go and we were reffing for him. I started out being just kind of the head judge, like for a field. And then I'm going to say within a couple years, I was ultimate judge for the GPL. You know what I mean? And I did that until 2010. So, and the team just continuing to grow with the split of MPPL and PSP. You know, we decided we wanted to stay with the 10-man side instead of the 7-man side. And we did that until, you know, 2005, where we were forced to change and, you know, made the transition to X-Ball. But
that was, you pretty much had to.
Yeah, they were just like, Rosie came over and gave me the bad news. Like, hey, by the way, I remember he told me, I think it was at Nemacolin. He's just like, yeah, there are not enough 10-man teams. Like it's dying, you know. And I was like, all right, cool.
And that's another thing I know. We're going back to where people are like, yeah, when people are like, oh, paintball's dead, I was like, well, don't tell that to the Iron City Classic, because they have like 1,000 people there on a weekend.
No. People who say that do not go to the right places. And I'll be honest, they're probably some of those people who are not participating in building the sport. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, every year, I mean, I'm a school teacher, right? I teach middle school. Every year I put on a Halloween game. I mean, this year will probably be different because, you know, we're doing this whole like virtual thing, but I have my kids come out. I usually get 5, 6, 7 kids come out. Dude, I give them my gear because I'm running the event. I'm like, take my gear. Here's my jerseys. Here's paint. You know, Brian hooks them up with a decent entry. I'm gonna go play paintball for the day. You know, and that's awesome. You know what I mean? And a lot of those kids come back. I have a kid on my team now. I taught as a 7th grader. You know, and he's an adult man. You know, he's in his late 20s now.
That's crazy. Yeah. So you had him as a student, and then you let him go out and play, and now he's on the team.
Yep.
That is so cool.
Yep. So I mean, that's the kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Wow. So yeah, we're in like 2005 now. The Misfit Toys are a thing where you guys are switching over to X-Ball.
Yep. That was probably one of the toughest transitions. Like for myself, I'm a big dude. And we very quickly realized that a lot of the guys who had kind of gotten the team to where they needed to be, you couldn't compete in X-Ball. I mean, we started out the gate, 15 balls a second, and guys are getting chewed to hell. 10-man is such a different game. You know what I mean? You get out, it's more of a chess match. Right. I remember the very first event we played X-Ball, and again, we're full of ourselves. I want to say that we finished the last 10-man season second place. I can't remember who took first, but I know we took second because Rocket kids who were hot as hell at that time made the jump from 10-man to X-Ball. And so we went from third to second, finished the PSP season. So we were just like, oh man, we're second place. We're awesome. We're gonna go. No, we played less than 0. That was our very first X-Ball match, and that was an ugly, 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 just like beating. They beat the living shit out of us in Orlando. And early on, for those guys who play X-Ball now, no, playing at 5 points, no. You're playing like a full match, 2 halves.
Yeah.
And in the very, very early days, like if you lost, you were out. Or you played 2 matches, and if you lost, you were out. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's none of this.
Elimination.
You're not guaranteed your 4 matches anymore. No. So we basically got an ass whooping. I can't remember who we played the second match. But I will never forget playing less than 0 and just like how embarrassed we were, just like, holy sweet Jesus. Like, because the other teams have been playing X-Ball for at least a year. Do you know what I mean? And we came into it cold and just got walloped. So.
Yeah, like I said, it's tough. X-Ball is tough for bigger dudes. It just is, man. It's an athletic man's game, man. Small, fast dudes.
So like for me, like to be competitive, I had to figure out how do I get guys who are really good, because at that point in time you could still do coaching from the sidelines, right? In the very early days. So how could I get guys that I could joystick to do whatever I wanted them to do? You know what I mean? And so, very quickly we made the transition. 2005 was horrible. 6, 7, 8, 9. I think we were competitive. You know what I mean? Making Sunday, and that was phenomenal. Like that was such an awesome group of guys. And so you talk about so many of those guys still play now. Some of those guys are playing on some of the Revo squads and stuff like that. But it was good, man. But that was kind of, I'm going to say 2010 is kind of like was our change year. Unfortunately, I got really, really sick. We were actually out in Chicago at the PSP, and I found a lump. And I got home from Chicago and actually had it, like, I was like, well, it's probably nothing. Like, I mean, I don't know. It's like, maybe it's a welt, whatever. But
no, we're dudes. Yeah. It's like, whatever.
It'll go away,
Right.
And it didn't go away. And so I got it checked out. I remember that was one of those reality check moments. I went there and I, talking to the doctor, and he's just like, hey, how's Tuesday for you? Tuesday's great. What are we doing on Tuesday? That's your surgery to take out the cancerous tumor. I'm like, what? Like, what are you talking about? So at that point in time, like I gave everybody a free pass. I had to get everybody together on the team and go, look, here's the deal. I don't know how long I'm going to be out. I know I'm going to be sick as hell. Basically, you're going to lose all your leadership. This is your out. We're going to part as friends. If you want to go find another team, do your thing. I don't know how long I'm going to be down. And I really was kind of out for 6 months. With everything else, I just didn't have energy, with the radiation and stuff. I had to part ways with GPL.
The chemo was so tough, man.
Oh my God, dude. So I had to part ways with the GPL. You know what I mean? I'm telling Brian mid-season, I got to go. And again, it's just one of those really weird things. So
yeah, sometimes life gets in the way of paintball. This is one of those times.
I'm very much put your money where your mouth is kind of guy.
Yeah.
So we were playing, and the EPL was kind of an infant series, and they had just started playing an event. It was LVP South at the time, which is now Oaks Hatfield. And so we were up there, and Chad was running the event, and it was one of the very first events. I know that we won, I think the D4, and I think we took second or third in the D3 or D5 or whatever. But we podiumed in both. And I was kind of in his ear all day about like different things and reffing and stuff like that. And, how I'm going off, 10 years of experience running the GPL. And I'm telling him, and he's just basically was like, well, if you think you can do better, let's show me. Okay, cool. So he invited me to co-ultimate judge. And there was another guy, Jason Stone, who was the ultimate judge at the time. And Jason and I talked, and Jason actually got a great job. About that same time, he was a civilian contractor going overseas. So he only lasted like a couple events, and then he had to go do some work. And I took over as ultimate judge of the EPL, and it's just haven't looked back. So that's been, 9+ years working with Chad. So, now we go to the event and we get everything set up, and Chad's like, do your thing.
Yeah. Right.
So once we get going, I just kind of run the scoreboard, do whatever we got to do, man.
Yeah. How has that been? Like that's kind of been such a crazy journey running the EPL, like and doing everything. Like you really probably have seen like the sport. You can really attest to how the sport has grown because you've been watching it from
Hmm.
afar for so long.
Absolutely. So I really kind of like where the sport is now, competitively. And I know that we made the shift as far as like how we're running the events and stuff this year. Um, but it's good. Do you know what I mean? Like it's like the teams are excited to play. I know that the EPL is not the only game in town now. So I mean, like that is phenomenal to me because now you have in that part of the country, I mean, this part of the country, you've got three different leagues. And if you want to go to Boston, you could count, four or five, you count in Foxball and NXPL, but you're
Right,
talking about, there are a lot of players and like nobody is starving for players. Do you know what I mean? Like the
right,
leagues are all full. Like we had to cap the number of teams at the last event. We're sorry, we don't have room, you know?
right.
Um, and that's phenomenal. I mean, I love to see that kind of growth. You know what I mean? And I don't know if this year it's in response because everyone's like, okay, so what do we play? We're not going to go play NXL. So what do we do?
Yeah.
I was like, play as much paintball as humanly possible. Find an event, play it.
No, that was my thought because like I'm a big in the mech scene, so I was looking forward to the ICPLs, ICC stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, and then pretty much that's even though they're trying to run Chicago, but I mean, come on,
Right,
like so I'm like yeah, I'll play more local stuff, so I'm playing the next EPL, like so
right.
I've been playing like I'm eating up all the local stuff.
Mm-hmm. And it's awesome. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
how do you sell that value to somebody? I get to sleep in my own bed, roll out of bed, and be at a tournament. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? I mean, I granted, like within reason, but I mean, from here, from like I live in Bucks County, PA. It's an hour and a half for me to get down to OXCC. It's 45 minutes for me to get on target. You know what I mean? It's 35 minutes to Top Gun. It's 45 minutes to Long Live. You know what I mean? It's like any place I want to go play paintball locally. Cousins is not far. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
just go play. Let's go play some paintball. And
no hell yeah, and
so
back
my
to your
guy, yeah, I was gonna say my guys are all hung up. Like, oh, what's the goal for this year? The goal is to survive 2020 and make it to
right.
2021. You know.
No,
So.
but I was saying we had like a giant scrimmage out here on Long Island, and
Mhm.
I think Waldo can attest to the actual number of what we had 70 people on open for the
Yeah,
super
it's
scrim.
70.
So like people are playing, like players are there.
Mhm.
That is definitely not the problem.
No,
Um, so yeah, you have EPLs in what in 2 weeks?
we have EPL Sunday down at OXCC, so it's in combination with the East Coast Super Game
Okay,
and Super Game East, and that's at Outdoor Extreme Chesapeake City. And so for that, it's just a Sunday event. And then the following weekend, we're at On Target, and that's the 2-day event.
yeah. I didn't know you were doing that before Super Game. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. So
So
we
is it
did it last year too. I mean, it's kind of like cheesy. I was like, I want to be the new East Coast Paintball Festival. I mean, like I grew up, in the days of Amateur Open.
mhm.
Like that was the pinnacle of where everybody wanted to go to. Let's all drive to Cranberry and let's go play some paintball and cause some havoc at the Sheridan, and like that's what we did. You know what I mean? And that was just so much fun. So.
I love like big kind of events, even though like that's why I love like 2 day scenarios, even though it's not like tournament and play, but like
Mm-hmm.
you go there, you get a bunch of dudes. Normally we camp, everyone's like having a good time around a fire, cooking food. It's about the experiences.
100%, dude. I was with you. I was talking to the guy who is my brigade commander for the Misfit Militia, and I was like telling him today, I'm like, oh, so I think we should probably go buy a grill. Like, let's go to Home Depot, get a grill. We can like cook out at the field. We're gonna set up like our tent area and stuff, and it just becomes an experience, man. It's more than just playing the game. It's an entire like experience being with your paintball family and shooting the shit with them and drinking beers and like it's just phenomenal.
No, right? And what was I saying? Then yeah, just like walking up and down the line, like meeting new people, seeing what they're
Mm-hmm.
doing, or like people smell your food and they come in.
Yeah.
It's more festival like.
It's so much fun, dude. And that's, I think that's what everybody loved about, the Iron City Classic is it brought back that feeling. And
Hmm.
so that feeling has been gone from the sport for so long because we got to a place where like, oh, well, my team's over here and your team's over there. And not so much in the mech and the scenario world, but definitely in the tournament paintball world. like, oh, we've got our own little clique over here, and those walls have really started to break down. You know what I mean? Where we talk to each other, and there's a lot of teams, particularly in this part of the country, that are doing more than one thing. I mean, I look at like Allie from High Rollers. You know what I mean? She was going to be general, at a scenario game, and she's playing D3X ball, and she's coaching the D4
I'm so
kids.
mad we're not playing.
Oh my God! But you know what I mean? Like that's.
Forward to that event. I wanted to play so bad.
Oh, but you know what I'm saying? Like there are more and more and more people who have that mentality of let's go out and play paintball. I'm not playing speedball. I'm not playing woods ball. I'm not playing I'm playing paintball. Like I'm gonna go. It's paintball, cool. Let's go. So that's phenomenal.
Even on like I see it even on the open fields too. Like I've been helping the airball kids come out playing a little bit more of that, but I see it in the rec. I'm like, damn, dude, that fucking open was like 20 on 20.
Absolutely. I mean, I was checking out pictures. I can't remember I want to say it's Ice, like Ice 9 or something. I know they play out of Long Island. You know what I'm talking about?
I know who you're talking about.
Those guys. So
Yeah,
I mean,
they play Cousins.
yeah. So I was checking out like their Instagram, and they had all the pictures from this last weekend. They were playing out Cousins in Manchester and playing like the big mounds field in the castle, like the turf mounds fields and stuff.
Right.
Like, dude, that looks like so much fun. like that's what I want to do. Like I want to go play on that field.
Yeah, no, I was there, I think the week before doing a practice on their woods field before Will's was canceled because we were going to play Will's tournament, so we practiced on the field. But yeah, for people who don't know, Will had heart problems. He had to have a stent put in, but he is fine. Everyone's talked to him, I'm sure.
You have a spin in the big wheel tonight, and I didn't win. Damn it!
Yeah, actually, I was going to say I don't know what time it is. I probably missed it. It might be going on right now.
No, he did it like right at 7 o'clock.
Oh, okay. I've had so many people that have been like the tick before it.
I felt so bad. I can't even remember the guy's name. It was Adam something, and he bought 20 tickets, which is like $400 worth of tickets. And I watched it go right past his name, and I was like, oh, dude. So
I had the luck of the raffle. And then I know people I don't know if you know Steve Darcy, but that guy does like one ticket on like a bunch of raffles. He's won like 10 of them.
He's got the magic touch. I'm like, here's my wallet. Go get me some tickets.
Yeah, exactly. So definitely before we get in here, I want to get your thoughts. Like, do you think the future for EPL? So you have race 2 with D4 and D5. Do you have thoughts of maybe doing D3? Are they doing maybe like separate events for D5 and D4 so you can have more teams?
Well, so one of the big things that we did this year, which is different, is we stopped doing the 3-man. We've basically found in the last year or so that the number of teams who were playing 3-man had really kind of just dropped to, minimal. So what we did is we changed the format. So it's kind of like what you guys are doing with X-Ball. We're playing one division on Saturday, one division on Sunday. And that has been good. I know that we got some pushback. The guys who play on Saturday, they're like, oh, I got guys that work on Saturday. And I'm like, there's 5 events a year. You can put in for a sick day, put in for a vacation. Like, it's not that much. And particularly now, with this COVID stuff, like, I mean, we're going to end up playing 4, in each conference. So 4 North, 4 Mid-Atlantic, and, and 4 South events. And the first couple of events have all been combined. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. So, but I mean, I see that, the sport growing. I keep seeing new teams pop up. Which is phenomenal. I see guys who got out of the sport. Like the guys from the Trappers, man. Like, dude, that was awesome to see all those guys come back and play again. Some of the We Are One or guys that were playing before, and now they're playing again. I was like, dude, that was so good to see those guys out playing. I talk about like Stax all the time. Stax has been, reffing me with the EPL for years, and he's back with the 631 OG. Watching those guys come out and play. And we're talking about guys that I haven't seen play, some of them, oh my God, since we were at Dell Hobbies. You know what I mean? Like, that's insane.
Yeah. Yeah, no. Cool. So, and then also, because then what do you think the future of the Misfit Toys is? Who's like your next in command? Like, do you have plans on just like kind of sitting back more? Like,
no,
for Misfit Toys.
I've actually been really busy recently. So I have a lot. So yeah, so I have a couple like group commanders as far as like the way it would go. So Terry is my co-captain, T Squared, if you guys know Terry. And so he, of course, has been kind of on his own personal journey. He hurt his knee last year, so he hasn't really played since World Cup. And so he's kind of been nursing it and trying to take care of some other stuff. And he went on this phenomenal weight loss journey. I mean, he's dropped like 100 and something pounds already. He looks like a new human being. So that's awesome. So he kind of takes care of some of the administrative stuff. I have Greg Eisen, who's one of my line captains, kind of oversees some of the D4 guys. Dan Guerin, I guess, would be the other line captain for there. And then I have Mike Bruno, who's my brigade commander for the militia side. And he has done a ridiculous amount of recruiting recently. And so as far as like that side of what we're doing, I mean, that side is just growing. I think we're taking, 15 or 16 guys to Super Game this weekend.
That's
nice.
To go play militia. And that's awesome. And then we hooked up with this new guy, Geo. If you find him on Instagram, it's Geo Magfed. And that's his deal, man. He shoots Magfed. And other than that, I really had one or two guys who would shoot Magfed and like first strikes. And that is his thing. And so he's talked and he's brought more guys in. And he's actually moving to North Carolina. So we're going to have a Misfit Militia North Carolina chapter. And then we'll have, the Mid-Atlantic chapter. So that side of it is just growing because like next year we want to do, the CPX games in Fayetteville and the one down in Myrtle Beach and stuff and really kind of grow that side. So I can't complain, man. So today's been like sponsorship stuff, reaching out to sponsors, getting artwork and stuff done and touching base with Big Los and trying to get some stuff situated with the jerseys and stuff because I know everything's just been up in the air this year. You know what I mean? Like everybody's is been counting on getting things from overseas. And like you go to all the shops and stuff, like, we go to place our Virtue order and, like the stuff pops in the cart at 9:00 and they're sold out by like 12,
Yeah.
So it's been crazy, man. This is just, just count my blessings. You know what I mean? It's another day of paintball. Thank God.
Yeah, right. 2020 has been crazy. But before we get out of here, I want to give you the opportunity to plug all your sponsors, all the dudes that help the Misfit Toys do what they do, and all the dudes that help you. Give them a little shout out right now.
Yeah. As I get this, I get a message from Brian Barno. He's like, sorry, I'm trying to get a hold of Brian all day. We're talking EPL stuff and Super Game stuff. So, I mean, I have to talk about Russell.
Hell yeah.
Russell Jackson is a special dude. And he had to give me the sad news of calling me and telling me on that Monday about Tim.
Yeah.
So, I've known Russell a long time. He used to play. He used to live in this part of Pennsylvania, and there's a place called it's called Bucktown, which is out in kind of like Chester County area in Pennsylvania, but local here. You know what I mean? Like, and he used to play on a team called Bucktown Bandits, and they used to come and play GPL when we were down at Del Hobbies. So I've known Russell probably since the early 2000s. But him, everybody at GOG, we talk about Laurel, Adam, Daryl, Tim, of course, Craig, Mike Tarzan, phenomenal. I could not ask for a better sponsorship family between Shocker Paintball, DLX, GOG, and Freak. They've really stepped up for us and take tremendous care of them. So I don't care if you're a PE guy or like whatever else, or shoot cockers or whatever else. Definitely check them out, dude. I mean, they're quality people. They really care about the sport and growing the sport, I think, the right way. Talk about that. Virtue and Bunker Kings, been longtime sponsors. We were wearing Bunker King stuff back in the early days of, GZ and I got my first headband from Will. I still have now. I took the Bunker King patch off like an idiot, though. It's probably worth like $2,000 now. You know what I mean? But I have the leopard skin one, and I had it engraved with. I have the Misfit logo on it, so I still have that one, and I have a snake stripe one. Let me see here. I've got my little list. Weapons, of course. Todd, Big Los. They take great care of us. Will at Valken. I've known Will since 1994. He came out to play for a team at Sergeant York's called the Chargers. That's where we first met. I think he was, right out of the military at that point. And he and I have been friends ever since. We just picked up, actually, it was one of the things I was doing today. And I know, John, you talked about it. Like, we just picked up Volcano. Like, I picked up a couple of their bags. I just picked up a couple of their bags. Dude, they are legit.
He's going to go get one. I think I'm going to get one too.
Oh my God. So I first got it and was checking it out.
Why is the back?
Oh, you still got it. Oh, so he's got the American one. So
yeah, I think he's going to give it away at TSXL. I'm pretty sure.
That's awesome. Oh my God. Like, you talk about quality product, dude. Like, I'm amazed. But that is so cool, because a lot of the guys, like, I come from the generation where everybody had like the giant, like, it was like a sea chest, size gear bag. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you're trying to pull it to the airport and it's 150 pounds. You know what I mean? And now it's like, I can get in that gear bag, I can get like my goggle case, I can clip to the outside. I can get 2 tanks, 2 loaders, 2 guns, strap my pack in there. That's it. Like, that's what I need. Or in my, barrel insert case. Like, everything I need is in that bag. So I have like the extra one. I have my OGO bag, which is cool. Right. But they're awesome. I am so impressed. So we just kind of inked that today. And I got to talk about the guys.
Breaking news here on the podcast.
Yep. So literally inked that today. So yeah, I just finished the graphic tonight. I'm ready to that'll go up later. And then the guys from CK, man, Chris and Tony take phenomenal care of us. If anybody has ever seen our CK Gats, they are phenomenal. Like, they do the Misfit lasering and everything for us. The guys, as far as like their pants and all the other product. That is my favorite pod pack outside of my Reds Big E pack that Greg made for me however many years ago. My favorite pod pack I've ever owned. That's it, man. It's just like, trudging along. Outdoor Extreme is one of our home fields. On Target's one of our home fields. And other than that, I mean, our guys are kind of refugees. We like to travel. Like, we're definitely not one of those teams that just shows up to the same field week after week. We're like, cool, well, let's go play a different group of teams. Let's go to Long Live this week. Let's go to Cousins. Let's go to On Target this week. Let's travel. Try to get down to NR, like whatever we got to do.
No, I'm so with that. I agree as well. I'm also trying to do more like specialty field, like I said, go to more CXP and things like that. Like I have been, like I've never been to Sherwood Forest. I want to go.
Oh my God, dude, that place is crazy, and it's just gotten even better.
That's all I've heard.
Dude, I gotta go. I don't want to. Man, I got one thing to ask though. So, are we doing a Mid-Atlantic Classic this year, or?
So, all right. So everybody already knows. I'm going to kind of move this thing for me. So we moved the format a little bit. Originally, we were going to do a 5-man event. And so when the NXL was going to do the 3 regional series event, like I had to cancel the first one. Like that literally was like COVID weekend and shit was hitting the fan. You could kind of see the writing on the wall, and we were like, all right, let's just cancel. And I'm glad we did, because everything got shut down that weekend anyway. We originally canceled the event because they just really, there wasn't enough. Because we were going to do the NXL, like Tom was going to come and bring the regional series to OXCC. And so that's it. We were going to, work on that. And then that pretty much canceled. And then it was kind of like, okay, so what do I do? And the honest truth is I've been talking to Will, and, with what he's doing with the 7-man, he did the event at Top Gun. And then he was going to do the King of the Woods. We were going to play that this last weekend. And I know that that's got to get rescheduled. And the God's honest truth is I love Will, dude. Will's my boy, dude. Like this is the God's honest truth. We were playing down at Ultimate Madness. If you don't know what that is, it's this crazy tournament that Paul Bullenbach put on. It was down, I think, in Huntington, West Virginia, in this little tiny, I don't even know what it was. It was like a little civic center. But you basically played in a cage. It was a 3-man cage. If there were 12 or 15 bunkers in that, I would be shocked. I have very distinct memory of Will handing me his NYX Matrix and be like, hey, Big E, go try this. I was like, all right, cool. We literally went out and we turned, and I shot 2 guys on the break and then ran down the field, and I had my co-captain essay, shoot me in the back of the head. Thank God it bounced. But we finished the game in like 12 seconds. And I was like, dude, this is awesome. I need one of these. So like out of my garage and on my gun wall, I have like my NYX out there. And I was like, damn. But anyway, that's a long way of saying I kind of have hold off. I have a few people that really want me to do the Mac. We were only going to do a 5-man or a 7-man. But the God's honest truth is I'm really kind of waiting to see what Will wants to do. There's only so many weeks between now and the end of September. And I know a lot of the teams are looking to go down to or going to Badlands for the ICPL. And there's only a couple weekends we can do. I talked to Steve. It doesn't look like the 13th is probably going to be a good weekend for Will. And I don't want to step on his toes. Like if he's going to run his King of the Woods, I yield. I'm gonna let him run his event because that would be dickish of me.
No,
it'd be good. DC.
No, but I just want to thank you again, Big E, for coming on and tell us your story.
Thank you.
I would love to have you back to talk about more events. Maybe after EPL, we'll have a little EPL recap or something like that.
Absolutely.
But thanks for coming on, man. And we'll talk to all you guys later.
Sweet. Last plug. Anybody who has nothing to do on Halloween because you can't go out trick-or-treating or whatever else, come Outdoor Extreme Hatfield. This is my 15th year running Splatoween there. It is the absolute best time. I give out an insane amount of prizes and lots of candy. You turn in prizes, yell trick-or-treat. And it's oddly enough, it's going to be Saturday, August 31st. And it is Nightmare Before Christmas. So got to come play. Waldo played last year.
Didn't you play last year, dude? It was last. I'm kind of confused. I haven't played in that field in a long time. And when I first went out there, I'll say this. I got clapped up a bunch from people that definitely had played there a few weekends. You know what I mean? They definitely knew, you know what I mean? I was like, where'd that come from? Like, I'm like, dude, there was like some Viacom grass in the center of this field, Travis. And I was like, I'm not going there. I took this long way around and there's like some little town. I was like, I'm gonna go there because dude, like I said, man, I haven't been there. I played there. I think it wasn't even called OX. It was called LVP, and there was like the Junkyard Gang or something.
Yeah, and then for for a couple of months it was Condor Paintball, but it was Cobra Command before that. So.
All right, awesome. Yeah, so definitely check out the Halloween event, guys, and we appreciate everyone for joining us, and we will catch you all next time.